Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is HauteLeMode, and today on HauteLeMode we are going to be doing a review of the Pyer Moss Spring Summer 2020 Fashion Show. Now before we get any further into the video, if you guys are looking for a channel that talks about fashion in the most fun, sassy, bitchy, analytical way, this is it. So you can go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on my post notifications. I mean, like, what you have to lose, you're already here. And if you guys want to see more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HauteLeMode. I post some pretty poppin' fashion memes, and my Instagram stories are always pretty lit. And if you want to see even more from me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HauteLeMess. It's where I post more of my personal opinions and outfits, so enjoy. So it's very rare that I make a video reviewing a New York fashion brand. It's even more rare that I make a video reviewing a New York fashion brand because they actually did something positive. And well, Pyer Moss is the brand that is deserving of a pretty positive review. I'll be honest, I was actually kind of scared for this show. If you guys don't know Pyer Moss, pronounced Pyer Moss, not Pyer, not Pierre, Pierre, well then you haven't really been reading any fashion news. The brand is designed and was founded by Kerby Jean-Raymond, a Brooklyn native, whose unapologetically black, design-centric fashion series has helped make Pyer Moss one of the buzziest New York brands. Kerby, otherwise known as Kerbito on Instagram, is the winner of the 2018 CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund, which has won him $400,000. Take that, reality television competition winners. He also has been working with athletic retail magnate Reebok and has helped to issue in an era of revival for the brand. He's also been recently appointed the artistic director of Reebok Studies _, a new program under Reebok to foster young and underground talent. This collection is the third and finale of a three-part series called American Also, which in context is a next-level presentation in so many ways, but its real aim was to retell stories of erasure of African American and Black history from the American canon through clothing. It almost feels like a long-time chess match that Kerby has been having with the fashion industry at large. The first collection was named Cowboy and retold the story of the cowboy, but helped bring to light the fact that 1 in 4 cowboys in America when they were popular were Black. His second collection, titled Normal, wanted to reframe the narrative around Black families and give the Black family positive connotations in order to combat the negative connotations that American politics, media, and culture has put on Black families. And throughout each collection, he has initiated runway signatures, from pleats to pinstripes, to contrast stitching to his signature Pyer Moss yellow. Kerby's recent 2 collections have set bullet points for the brand's image. And last season, Kerby began to introduce artistic prints done by the artist Derek Adams, which only helped to fuel his range. Well, this season was a culmination of all Kerby's work put together, and was a finale to the series of American Also, although I'm sure Kerby won't just do away with the idea. The show took place at the King's Theater, a beautiful theater in the center of Flatbush, Brooklyn, built in 1929 and underwent a period of disrepair. It was renovated during the early 2010s and seems to be a reference to Kerby's re-narration of his own world. And he also wanted to bring his work and what he does and the idea of the fashion industry and fashion show to his old neighborhood. Kerby grew up in Flatbush with his father after his mother passed away when he was 7. He was quite pleased to have the show take place in his old neighborhood. And Kerby's appeal is so strong that Vogue's team even showed up to Flatbush, and I genuinely didn't think that the people that worked at the tippity top of Vogue even knew what Flatbush was. The show, which was reportedly attended by upwards of 2,000 guests, didn't start out with the clothing immediately. Instead, a song was sung, and then a speech was given by Casey Gerald, detailing the idea of a mindset of freedom, even when under slavery of the mind, body, or both. Then the official Pyer Moss Tabernacle Drip Choir, who have been singing for Pyer Moss since at least the fall 2016 menswear show, came out in numbers. I'm a member of the fan club. I'd say between 60 to 70 strong, and they began to sing a plethora of songs from early rock and roll hits to Biggie to Missy Elliott, and even a little bit of Cardi B. There was not a soul in that theater that did not at least bop their head or stamp their feet. I even might have let out a small holler at one point. So it was an experience. But the name of this season in particular was called Sister, and was based on the work of Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Continuing on the idea of reframing a whitewash narrative, Kerby's work explained that rock and roll had actually not been started by the likes of Elvis or Johnny Cash, but instead was pioneered by a queer black woman who combined secular music with gospel choir and while strumming a guitar in a way that influenced the previously mentioned artists throughout their childhood. Often called the forgotten mother of rock and roll, Kerby put Rosetta Tharpe front and center. And I'm personally grateful that he did, because if artists and activists like Kerby do not re-narrate the stories of Black America, they would easily be forgotten due to racial injustice and the systems in this country. Now, the clothing was reflective of Kerby's previous work, but also utilized the theme of this show, which for the most part was rock and roll. The opening look of the Pyer Moss section of the show was a color-blocked, crystal-encrusted, cropped, rounded shoulder pantsuit. The print is reminiscent of Derek Adams' work, but also is reminiscent of the Pyer Moss branded logo. And the crystal encrusting, which was done last season on this beautiful purple gown, which depicted a print of a father holding his son. The bold shoulders followed to the second look, and throughout most of the collection. The first men's look was a satin pistachio shirt with those bold shoulders, and a neon pink cummerbund that read, "You see." Not a question, but a statement, and an answer to last season's pure white cummerbund that asked the question, "See us now?" The cummerbund seems to be having a real moment in fashion, especially for menswear, and I'm sure that Kerby's work last year was influential in this. The red pants of the look had a woman singing in different spots, calling back to the memory of Tharpe, who strummed the guitar in gowns and dresses as she performed. A red ruche shirt dress over satin pants accentuated a brown guitar bag that simply read Pyer Moss. The next jacket was in a mint green with lapels that had the curvature of a guitar. I didn't love it, but I liked the fact that at least Kerby was taking a chance. Kerby has discussed that he doesn't care to sell clothes per se, and I think that this is a perfect example of letting the notions of commerciality step to the side in order for a bit of creative expression to take center in American fashion. Next, an all-white poncho and pant combo with a red piped outline of an electric guitar created dimension. To me, it's reminiscent of a look worn by Tharpe when she performed Didn't It Rain, where she wore what looked like a wool coat with the same piping and stitching, almost in the shape of a guitar's body. Looks with piano keys began to be incorporated, and while I respect keeping on theme, in certain areas, it did feel a bit gimmicky. But the range of suiting that came in for both men and women differentiated throughout. From wide to curved to sloped, the tailoring felt like a particular strong point this season. Also, the caped long-sleeve t-shirts were just chef's kiss. If you want to talk about elevating a wardrobe staple, this is how you do it. A Pyer Moss signature satin yellow gown flowing down from its strong shoulders was the point where I knew that this show was the tits. It's just ethereal, elegant, and again displayed the range that Kerby has. The matching leather men's set felt like a subtle ode to the camo leather jacket that got Pyer Moss its initial fame on the back of Rihanna. Then the cropped button-down with slouchy jeans, which had Pyer Moss and Sean John embroidery on the breasts, was another nod to Kerby's re-navigating blackness not only in America, but in fashion as well. Throughout the American Also series, Kerby has worked with 3 different brands owned and popularized by Black people, which also during their heyday were not seen as fashion brands in the same way most white-owned fashion brands were. His first collection collaborated with Cross Colors, an LA-based brand started in 1989 by Carl Jones, whose tagline read, "Clothing without prejudice." The second collection collaborated with Daymond John's famous brand FUBU. FUBU stands for Us, By Us, and wanted to advance fashion in the black market. And this season, the collaboration with Sean John, the brand of Sean P. Diddy Combs, which was scoffed at by fashion industry professionals when it was launched. Kerby attended a Sean John show in 2004 and said it left a real impact on him. So he wanted to work with Combs on this series finale. Then came a brilliant white dress, almost like a cheerleader's uniform or band leader's dress. It had a big shiny star covering the front and back, and had these amazing big chorusy sleeves. A striking velvet suit with Sean John embroidery is sure to become a red carpet hit, and the Vote or Die t-shirt, popularized by P. Diddy when he launched Citizen Change, a group that empowered young minorities to vote, got an update as well. A photo shoot which had stars like Mariah Carey, Pharrell, and Naomi Campbell helped to put the t-shirt on the map. But the shirt was given a little bit of a facelift because now it's sleeveless and had an extra message saying, and I mean it this time, is very Kerby. Then came the Pinstripe Suits, which Pyer Moss is known for and was popularized when Kerby and Lena Waithe walked the Met Gala red carpet, wearing similar suits. The ones on the runway did lack the statements on their backs, but took the song lyrics for Pinstripe's idea and instead had guitar strings reflect that subtle change. While they may not have been particularly attractive to me up close, it doesn't mean that it's not Kerby eagerly displaying another brand trope and experimenting with it once again. Then came prints resembling paintings done by the artist Richard Phillips. Phillips was wrongfully incarcerated for 45 years for a crime he did not commit. He was quoted as saying, "Painting was the only thing that kept me sane." I can't even imagine. Phillips created prints depicting colorful guitar and piano players working their craft, which were put on everything from shirts to blazers to skirts to boots. And speaking of boots, Aurora James, the founder and owner of the brand Brother Vellies, who is a very popular shoemaker, helped design most of the crocodile cowboy boots and neoprene heels for the show. I have a feeling that Aurora and Kerby may be more than just friendly designers, but you know what, that's none of my business. Just saying. The finale of the Pyer Moss section of the collection was a pink pleated gown. And while the sleeves and the skirt of the dress were nice, the bust felt a little bit sad looking. I'd expect a bit more from Kerby for a finale look. And now comes the second half of the show, which is the Reebok by Pyer Moss collection. Yeah, they're always split up if you didn't know. This has been a significant part of the American Also series, and usually follows the higher end Pyer Moss looks. These pieces usually end up on the Reebok website though, and have debuted more of the streetwear aspect of the brand, helping to create staple shoes like the Daytona and the Mobius. Caleb McLaughlin, star of Stranger Things, opened this collection in an orange puffer coat with the Reebok lines jumping across the back, and I didn't think that I'd really need a puffer coat for spring, but here we are. He also debuted the fourth sneaker in the series called the Trail Fury. Side note, they look fucking sick. I'll be honest about the Reebok by Pyer Moss collections. I think the branding and logos and titles dumb the clothing down. There's no need for the Pyer Moss name to be layered all over the clothing. Just making strong, beautiful, and interesting clothing that is more affordable is enough to not only show on a runway, but also to create a community that understands the clothing, what it is, and where it comes from. I personally believe that Kerby's too smart for those gimmicks, and I would hope that whoever at Reebok is forcing him to do this would change it. There were some great elements of this section of the collection though. The pleats, which are new for the secondary line, and adds an element of luxury Reebok has probably never seen. The printed tracksuits in different colorways were also great, and that all yellow look was also very nice. By the time that the show had ended, there had been great clothing, a message, and an energy that has not been seen in New York since, well, a very long time. Kerby Jean-Raymond has done something special. He's opened the doors of fashion up to just about everyone. And he also proclaimed his blackness in the face of an industry that often told him from the very beginning to leave that part of himself to the side. Kerby has claimed himself. He's on a different level now, and this show, which got a standing ovation from the 2,000+ people in the theater that night, proved it. If you weren't there though, I have one thing to say. I'm sorry for you. So that is the end of the review of the Pyer Moss Spring Summer 2020 collection. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. It's definitely different being at a fashion show versus seeing it on Vogue Runway or just seeing photos or video. I think I've really realized it this fashion week. So I'd love to know your guys' opinions on everything. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and TTYL.